Welcome to our astounding agents and investors nationwide. Today is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025, and this is All The Leads Mastermind podcast number 522. You think we'll make 1,000, guys? What do you think?
Sure.
I don't know. I think on the over under, it'd be close. Anyway, guys, I have nothing for you today. Welcome one and all. We got a pretty good turnout. And Tim, what do you have to share, sir?
Well, I was hoping you'd have pearls of wisdom. You have no pearls?
No, I don't wear jewelry. I don't wear pearls anymore since I got married. Not necessary.
What do you clutch when you're upset? You have anything to grab onto?
My
Never
wife's throat. No, not really.
answer that. No, nothing you were going to say then was going to be good.
That is true. I'll abstain.
That's the question. Um, so yeah, just a kind of a quick update on some things. We have, as usual, we'll be really transparent about some of the stuff that's going on with us. Um, we are obviously looking to do the best that we can for you guys for pursuing the artificial intelligence tools that are out there, and don't need to make the call about that today. We want to hear from you for sure. So we'll definitely focus on that. But I'll give you just a kind of a quick update, and then I'm going to wait until more folks are on, even though I'd like a bigger sample. And we're going to be sending an email out later this week about this as well. But kind of a question more than anything else, as far as AI is concerned. So if you, first of all, look at the bottom of your Zoom there and see that you have the heart down at the bottom that says react. If you click on that, you'll have the ability to um, drop down and raise your hand. And that's an important thing for us to know. If you want to be called on and talk, that's what you need to do that. So you either have that, or in some iterations of Zoom, you actually see the raise hand icon and you can use that as well. But either way, raise your hand to be recognized. That's important. Also, to react to what we're going to be talking about. And this one, I'm going to ask you to react. So be aware that I'm going to ask you to click on something in a minute. Um, First of all, how many of you today are using AI in your business in any way? Anything you're using that's an AI tool today, click on the raise your hand, and we'll take them back down for you if you raise your hand. Don't all jump at once. Okay. So, all right, Ed, thank you. That's great. Appreciate that. Good deal. If you're using AI at all, raise your hand. That's what we're looking for. All right, cool beans. And good enough, EVG, see that? Great. All right, so listen, here's the reason that I'm asking the question. And, we're looking to do the right thing here. And we're gonna do it as best we can. But I think the point that I'm going to make to you is this. Thanks, Jeffrey. I see it there, bud. I appreciate that. We have pretty laboriously gone through pre-qualification with multiple different providers of tools. And our vision for what we want to provide for you and for us, we're gonna we're gonna take the poison first, because we're gonna get it right for ourselves and help you as we go along, and then make it available for you. One of the things that we found is that there are things that separate the good from the bad. Obviously, bad interfaces are, we throw those out to start with. They don't qualify. Also, something that has a lot of latency in it, where, they pick the phone up, they answer it, and it's a delay before they speak. And if you reply back, it's a delay. And I'm only talking about the voice side of it now. That's kind of a non-starter for us, trying to get the latency down so that it's very natural. Also, the ability to have it be a very natural conversation, multiple voices, not always accurate, that, occasionally make mistakes, not in terms of the content, but they'll stumble over a word here and there. We look for that, and they're built in. They're all 100% accurate, but the good ones have the ability to uh, have a little bit of a problem as they go, just like you do, and like I do. Um, Maybe you're better than me, and I'm just bad at it. But bottom line is, we're looking to find a great interface. The other thing is that it needs to be comprehensive, and what I mean by that is we want something that will handle voice, both inbound and outbound, texting, inbound and outbound, and same thing for email to be able to handle that so that basically we cover any kind of communication that can happen and have it so that we can tie it to your website, uh, tie it to your mailings with a QR code, basically get that funnel going, and also give you the tools to get permission to contact them using the tools. So the thing that we found is that a lot of the companies that are providing the products that we would use to do that have a pretty hefty upfront cost. The better ones have a load up front. In one case, one of them that we talked to wanted $20,000 just to get started. Um, we didn't think that was a good investment because there's some of them that are way less expensive than that and all that. You do kind of get what you pay for, but you got to be careful about what you're doing. So what we have decided to do is we have negotiated with a couple of them that we're still talking with. We talked to them just before this call, and we'll be basically buying it by the gallon and reselling it back to you guys by the sip so that you don't have the front cost. And we'll bear the setup and all the rest of that in regard to what we're doing so that you're not eating all of the initial cost to begin with. And we're trying to give you a way to make this work to accommodate you, whether you have a small number of leads or a large number of leads, whatever you have. We want to try to get it down to where we can offer it to you based on a per usage basis with some minimums to make it work. So we've gone through all that. We are waiting today to get more info back about what the provider is willing to do. We had a great chat today with the one that we think is probably the best. So we're working on that now. And we're going to be providing a tool that will do everything that you need to have available to you, as well as to help you get leads that you can unleash all of these tools on. Because if you don't have the ability legally to contact these people, then help you to have all the tools, you're going to be breaking the law to do that. We don't want you to do that. So just that's a quick kind of update as to where we are. We'll put some more comprehensive things around this as we go. But the reason I'm bringing it up now is I want you to be aware that we're doing it. And if you run into something along the way that you think, well, maybe I'll try this, give us a week or two to put this together. And before you make any choices at all about doing that, realize that um, last thing you want to be doing is spending a lot of time training a bot or training other pieces of that. Let us help you do that. And as always, we're not trying to get rich doing this. We want to do it so that we keep you around as a customer because we're making you be more successful. So that's what we're working on right now. What we will be able to provide is something that works with everything that we have, everything that we provide, every type of lead, and works right through your existing portal. So that's what we're working on now. It won't be perfect day one, but it will work, and then over time we'll put it out and make it great for you. So that's where we're at. Having said that, if anybody has any questions about that, I'll take them now, and you can raise your hand again if you have a question. If not, we'll move on to something else. But that's kind of the status of where we are right now. Not seeing any hands, I will say let's hear from you. What would you guys like to talk about today? What kind of good things are you running into? What kind of challenges? What would you like to learn? What's new with you? You're on here. What happened to you in the last week? What did you get done? What exciting things do you have? If you're not excited, you better make something up. Hey, Cam, what's up, bud?
What's up, gents? How you guys doing?
Good, bud.
So yeah, just been plugging away. I've actually, I first and foremost, I'm from Massachusetts. I prospect. I usually cold call and all that fun stuff, personal representatives. But past month, I said to myself, like, you know what? Let me start going after the attorneys. So about 2 weeks ago, I on a Friday, just I try to prospect 5 a week, just go in and door knock. I brought some donuts. Um, I gave him the concierge approach speech, right? And we had like a 45-minute conversation. He tells me to come back on Monday. He's like, I'll have something for you. So he actually tells me to come back. I don't have the packet, but he gives me this packet and it goes over my head at the second. He's like, if we're going to be working together, I want you to learn these terms. And they're just like, healthcare proxy, the types of trust, the types of terms you need to know. And I'm thinking like, damn, I just came all the way this way to get a packet from this guy. Well, he also hands me, hold on, I'm gonna freaking flip the camera. He also hands me,
We lost your audio, Kim.
oh snap.
Oh, here we go.
He also hands me a key and he's like, I want you to have this property cleaned out. I got to clean the carpet and paint it. So this is what I've been doing. I just came and, I'm basically helping them clean it out and sell it.
That's
So,
great. And the terms that he gave you, is it a terms list in your local? Is it?
so I'm not an agent. I'm just going to wholesale it. I'm just going to find an end buyer. I cleaned it, took all the trash out. Now I just have to, I'm waiting for one of my friends to bring the carpet cleaner. I'm just going to have him clean the carpet and I'm just going to wholesale the property.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that's my win for the past couple weeks. I mean, I actually started going crazy, and now I'm just going after attorneys. I've just been door knocking a bunch of attorneys. I have a meeting tomorrow as well to meet an attorney at 10 in the morning. But yeah, just been cold calling, PR, sending them cold mail. But now I added at least 5, 10 a week to try to get in front of the estate planners and the probate as well. Just kind of letting them know, like, hey, I handle the reactive. I can be your legs, but I also run into people who need preventative, and it's been fun.
That's
Hey,
awesome,
Cam,
man.
I'm curious. Obviously, do what he asks as long as it's
Mhm.
not, there are not too many terms to memorize, especially because he gave you a deal up front. But I'm curious what his thought process was kind of wanting you to become an attorney. You might want to come back after you're successful with the deal and say,
Oh no, not becoming like an attorney, but just like know certain terms to be able to articulate to the clients, like,
okay,
So I mean, more or less, we're a mouthpiece for attorneys, right? So we're also a reflection of them. Like even if I come across somebody and they're like, "Hey, probate," no matter what level they're at, whether they're trying to prevent before the probate, or even if they're just trying to, navigate through the process, yeah, I'm not an attorney, but I have to articulate to a certain point, to be able to refer them. Because if they come to me and I'm just like, I don't know what a will is, they're going to be like, well, why would I want to deal with your attorney? You know what I mean?
gotcha. That,
I
that
have
makes
to
sense.
be, just knowledgeable enough to be able to guide them. Like, well, you're in this situation. Did you get your letters of testamentary yet? Oh, you haven't got those letters. Well, maybe, I'm not giving you, first of all, again, I'm not an attorney. This is just from my experience, guys. But let's just say I do come across that situation and, they need an attorney to, litigate or whatever. I need to be able to point them to a litigator. There's obviously differences between, the litigators, the admins and the preventative or the estate planners, so I have to be able to decipher that. And, that plays a role in it as well, or even just them knowing if they have a title or not. I have to be able to be like, oh, well, you don't have a title. Okay, well, you're intestate. That means you're in trouble. So you probably want to go this route. Okay, I have, Veronica, and she helps with this. Just tell her, Cam told you to call.
Cam, how
Gotcha.
many opportunities have you asked the attorney that you're dealing with? How many opportunities in a month he thinks he'll be able to shoot your way
So I mean, I've been in this for 2 years now, and this will be my ninth deal.
with this attorney?
No, with probate in general. So with one attorney, she's brought me five. Six, because she just brought me another one. But she's the one who taught me. She was kind of like the mentor. I don't know if we have ever like kind of went over how I fell into probate.
Nope.
No.
No, go ahead.
So, real quick, I was just a wholesaler. All I cared about was the money, right? Just doing assignments, not really focused on anything else. So, my stepmom, she cooks for parties. We're Nigerian. She makes jollof rice, best jollof rice this side of the seven seas, right? And she's like, Cameron, my stepmom, she's like, Cameron, I want you. So, two little girls, their parents died 6 months between each other because of COVID. She's like, Cameron, I want you to help them keep the house. Now, I do assignments, so I'm doing the complete opposite, right? I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I call my title and escrow attorney, and she's like, Cameron, they're going to have to go through what's called probate. I mean, you guys know what probate is, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I end up meeting the estate planning attorney, Veronica White, and Veronica changed my life. She just showed me instead of being a taker, be a giver. And then I stumbled upon you guys, a community of givers, right? And then I started realizing the pitch. I started, just kind of going through the motions, learning. I'm still assigning at this point. But long story short, I ended up assigning that property because it just fell into foreclosure. And I gave them half of my assignment. But I did that just because it was like it felt like the right thing to do. There's 14 and 16, and I just been blessed. So I was like, half my assignment, why not? But the attorney saw that and she was like, oh, nah, you're a real person. And from there, it's just been game on. She's given me a bunch of stuff. She tells me all the time I'm her fifth son, and yeah, I love this space. It's fun helping people and making money. So now, just been hyper focused on, this, just getting my niche down. I end up just like the past, like, I want to say like it's April now. I want to say like towards the end of January, I just ran into a few attorneys and I gave them, the pitch, and they were like, "Wow, I wish I knew you a couple months ago." And yes, I've like prospected attorneys, but I haven't really like went super deep and was just like, you know what? Let me do at least 5 to 10 a week. And now it's like, to the point where like I have attorneys talking about me and they're like, oh, you should go visit this guy and see if you can. So I live in Lowell, Massachusetts, and I'm like 40 minutes away from Boston, but I'm also 20 minutes away from Nashua, New Hampshire. Like it's right there. And my girl lives in Nashua. So I was over there this morning, just I was printing brochures. So I have a speaking event on Friday with one of my attorneys at a senior center. And I was just printing brochures and I'm just, listening to some probate mastery. And my girl was like, because she's getting ready for work and it's super early, she's like, oh, what are you going to do today? I'm like, oh, I got to run around and do this. She's like, why don't you just stop by probate court here? And I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea because it's a whole different state, even though it's only, you know, not that far from me. It's a whole different state. So I was like, you know what? Go down there. You're not allowed to pull probate records, which is oddly weird. But I was like, let me go meet some attorneys. And I gave them the shame spiel. So I visited five. Two of them was just like, "Oh my goodness, love to meet you." Gave me a couple cards. Want to meet. One of them set an appointment up tomorrow morning for 10 a.m. to like really like kind of go through and see how we can partner together. And yeah, it's just been very advantageous. So now I've been thinking about just like, yes, I will cold call the personal rep still, but just kind of focus solely on the estate planning and probate attorneys.
Very cool. That's
Yeah.
great, man. I mean, I've every week when you're able to comment and be here and join us, you bring a new dimension to what you're doing, and you just all over this. This is great.
Oh, thank you. And
Proud of
yeah, like I said, I've been going to senior centers, and that's been beneficial. Like I've been telling them, like, hey, I do the preventative and the reactive. I work with an attorney. Well, I have to be careful saying that. I have a colleague that's an attorney. They handle the preventative. I have my own business handling the reactive. Blah blah blah. And they've just been like, oh, we would love to have you. So I have something in Andover, which is a great area. And it's so funny. So I did one in Haverhill a couple months back, And I did one in Haverhill, and she was. Well, I reached out to Haverhill, and I was like, "Oh, would you guys be interested?" They were like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I told them who I was with. They were like, "Oh, you did something in Haverhill a couple months ago." I'm like, yeah." They're like, and that's what I can tell. It's a small community, but yeah, I try to go to the senior centers and do that as well.
And let me
Anybody ever
let
said,
me
anybody ever said something like that to me, I'd go, "Oh man, I thought I got away with that. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know I got caught by doing something in your community."
um so let me jump in. I've been watching Cam for a while now. Couple of years, maybe a little less, but Cam, like you said, about 2 years pursuing the probate and the estate niche. And Cam is just one of those guys that's a doer. An idea comes in, and where a lot of people sit and they go, "Hey, let me ask a whole bunch of people if they've ever done this. Let me research it for 18 months. Let me think about it more." Instead of doing that, Cam says, "Okay, hey, I'm going to go try it." And it pays off.
It's
So
paid off.
be a doer. Be a doer.
Yes, yes. And I mean, so again, you guys give the information so like it's so great. So I recommend still, educate yourself, but guys, you got to at least take action on it. You guys definitely give a great blueprint on what to do. Um, like one of my mentors says, it's simple, but it's not easy. Yeah, it's simple to go knock on 5 attorneys' doors and make 100 calls, but are you really going to do it? Um, yeah.
Hey, Cam, I'm curious. It sounds like since you stopped focusing on how much you were going to make, you're making a lot more. But
Yeah.
I mean, that go figure that. But I'm curious, on average, and maybe you're just starting to close them. But what's your typical assignment fee? How much do you average per deal at this point?
So I know on YouTube, but so my biggest assignment this year, I just closed a 60. So
60,000?
yeah, so that's my biggest assignment this year. I mean, like
Wow.
I said, I've only done 9, and hopefully, so I have this. Okay, so this is the funny part too. So when I first learned, learning the process, Veronica, she gave me this exact condo, but it was in B10. And I signed it. I made 20. I was happy at the time, but then obviously hindsight's 2020. I left a lot of money on the table, just it being in this area. Well, just the way God works, the attorney that gave me this is a 2-bed. I mean, most of the houses are free and clear, right? But this is free and clear. And he's just like, basically, he's like, "I'm not giving it away for free, but name your price," kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to name my price. But yeah, man, it's been great. And yeah, I stopped focusing on like, especially like they feel that, especially the attorney, they feel like, if you're really just about it for the money, you're not gonna get the money. It just, even for myself, like how I even think of it. So I started this business as a wholesaler, and I feel like a lot of these investors are just like, okay, so I'm at a networking event the other day, right? And me myself, I don't have my sticky thing on, right? And just a lot of people know me because I'm a loudmouth. I just go and talk to everybody in the room. But there was one guy. He came up to me, didn't say hi, didn't say anything, and was like, "You're a wholesaler. I need you to put me on your buyers list." And I was just like, "No," and I just walked away. And it was just like, then I seen him a couple minutes later. I had a mouthful of pizza. Didn't say hi again. He was like, "Yeah, you didn't hear me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I heard you completely. But, that's just not the way you approach business. And that's just me. And I feel like the attorneys are the same way. Like, they don't really care about all that. I mean, some of them do. Some of them need a refresher on their fiduciary business. But um, a lot of them don't care about that. They just want to know that their clients are going to get taken care of. So if you let them know, like, listen, it's about the client, then us, most of the time you're going to get the business.
Hmm.
And don't think this is easy. Like, oh, last week I had an appointment with an attorney, right? And we literally were on the phone. I was on the phone with her. You could tell she was kind of a little snippy, I want to say, right? A little catty. We agreed to 1:30. So me just trying to be smart. I got there at 1:20. I was like, you know what? Let me be early. I called her at 1:25. I was like, hey, I'm just pulling in. Da, da, da. She's like, "Oh, I left at 1:15. You said we were going to be there at 1." I was like, "No, we clearly said 1:30 in the text." And then she hit me with a, "Well, I'm an attorney and I'm super busy. So like I don't know. Like is this even like worth it?" And I'm like, "Well, I drove from Nashua to Hopkinton and this was like an hour drive at 9 in the morning. So I just didn't appreciate it." And I said that in text. And then she was like, "Okay, well, I'm turning around, I'll be there." She got there and she just yelled at me the whole time. She was like, "What made you think it was okay to read me out during text?" I was like, I mean, it's not fair that I drove over an hour for you to basically say, like, our timing was wrong when you knew our timing was right. And I understand you're a busy attorney, but that's kind of why I'm here, to take those kind of things off your shoulders. Calmed her down once I said that. And then she was like, "All right." And I sent her a few of the interviews I did with one of my attorneys. And she was like, "Okay, all right, I'll think about it, but you seem like you care about your clients." She looked me up and down and she just left.
Mhm.
And so we'll hope that works. But yeah, you get some interesting attorneys.
Good
Hey,
job,
Bill,
man.
while we're on the top subject, this reminds me of our coach, Bill Bird. Oh gosh, 7 or 8 years ago, I think you started off with the attorneys. And if I remember correctly, you focused on the court appointed representatives. And then you kind of transitioned into probate judges telling divorce judges, and you started getting divorce leads. I mean, it was like one thing led to another, led to another. Did I recount that correctly?
Yeah, exactly. The judges have given me several deals every year.
Yeah. You,
So
I
who
remember
who'd
you.
you go after?
I remember you telling us one deal where it was a contentious divorce, and the judge mandated that they list with you, both
Yeah.
parties. You got to go
Well,
list
they
with this
couldn't
guy.
agree. So the key part about in the divorce, both attorneys couldn't get the husband and wife to agree to anything. So the judge just stepped in and took over. And then after that, that same judge has told about other people. And when things are a situation where it's volatile, he tells them to call me. So that's been a really great avenue. But where that really shows up is other attorneys start recognizing you. But California is going through this big change with probate and their new exemptions and whatnot for $750,000.
So where would I go and meet somebody like that? So there's a guy named Patrick McDermott, and he's probably been up here. Was a magistrate for Norfolk County. And I met him a few times, and he's great. He's been to my events and stuff. And
So what
I'm
I've
just
learned is when someone dies intestate, every county, Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong, has an assigned place where, okay, someone's died intestate, there's no will. In California, like 70% goes to the state of California, 30% goes to the county, but they have to do their due diligence to find that person, right?
Hmm.
And so they go ahead and manage it, in I forget what it's called in Marin. I think it's something to do with intestate, but anyway, in San Francisco, it's unclaimed real estate property, right? So you want to go and find those places. It's just real simple. Someone dies, intestate, go find how that county handles it. Normally they have a manager. I used to send them my pamphlet, which worked really well. I don't have it right now.
okay. So now my brain's firing, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so boom. Okay, so boom. Damn. Well, let me start. So if someone dies, unless they have no heirs or anything like that, they have like basically like a division or a place where
Right.
property falls in. That's like when you send mail and then you don't have a return address and it bounces back. They have like that void place, right, that they send it to. So
Yeah.
I can find that place and find the manager of said place.
Yes. And normally they have a manager. The brochure is what got me in the first time I went there. So it was the really old one. And then the other thing though is you just need to realize that they have to put the property on the market for so long. There's a lot of rules they have to follow.
Mm-hmm.
I think
So
that
what's
they
the name of?
normally need to put it in auction normally.
Mhm.
It may not be that way in California, but in a lot of states it is.
Yeah.
So what's the name of said place? And you're in Cali, right?
I mean, there's all sorts of different names for it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Right.
saying,
I
what's
mean,
the name of your place? Because I'm just gonna Google the name of your place and attach Massachusetts to it, and it should just try to pop up.
So, um, it may be the state treasurer's office. The treasurer is normally who handles unclaimed property. So look up Massachusetts Department of Treasury, maybe. That's probably where it's handled out of, and Bill may have a different response.
Also could be.
in Marin County, it's called uh, probate, and then it's also called decedent estates and trust information. That's what it says in Marin County.
Right.
And Bill, just a quick follow-up, Bill. When you're looking through your leads, it seemed to me you had a way of distinguishing when you get 2, 3, 4 leads, which ones were court-appointed executors. Is there a way to tell that, or you just find one and then you realize he's somebody you want to go after?
It's the same name every time.
Okay.
And then it helps that it says 10-10-10 Civic Center, San Rafael, California, because that's the county. That's the county where everything is, 1010 Civic Center. So it helps. Yeah.
And Cam, I would also just say, you're talking to the attorneys, ask the attorney, they can tell you. They ought to be able to tell you where that's going. They have to deal with that. I'm sure that if they're involved in that in your market, they're going to be able to point you to the right thing. I want to just bring one other quick thing up.
I want to back. I just want to say, so in California, it has to go on the market. It's real clear. But in like Bruce said, in other states, it goes to auction.
Yeah, that's cool.
Every state's different and not different all over the place, but it's local option. Depends on how it gets done, and all those things are things you got to watch for. All I was going to say is that the thing you ought to take from this call is that this is one arm of Cam's business that he just grabbed and took off and worked hard, and he's got it, and he's doing all of it. But you've heard 3 or 4 different things that he's also doing to produce those leads. And we don't encourage you to just totally depend on what we're providing for you. We talk about it being a pillar of your business. And we've said that from the get-go, and we talk about divorce being a pillar and probate being a pillar and potentially late mortgage being a pillar. You want to build your practice around that and have a program, a methodology that you use tailored to your market. Depending on what's going on in your market, you know what's going to happen with property. You know what the requirements are. And Bill, I'm going to roll back to you in a second just to prepare you. We've got a couple of questions about what's cooking in California. So I'll ask you, to kind of just bring us up to date. But I think the thing that I would encourage everyone to do is to realize that you're not going to have it all in a minute. It's not going to get done overnight. Cam's invested a ton of his own time, to build this level of his practice so that he's known now for what he's doing. And you have to do this on the long term.
Dude, so that's another part. Now I got people reaching out to me. So I try to brand myself as the probate king, right? Give myself some sort of branding. Now I got people reaching out to me, like someone in my mastermind. She just sent in probate. She's like, Cam, I want you to take this down with me. It ends up being a lady. She died, but she has a portfolio of 12 houses. And, she's like, I feel more comfortable if you can talk to the attorney and the PRs. She's like, I have no problem splitting this with you. It's like, I'm not even doing nothing. She called me,
Yep, that's what you guys should be striving for, is to become known as a person of expertise in the area that you want to be seen as an expert in. And if you do that and you spend some time, it's not crazy promotion. It's just you're solid. You know your business. You're learning more every day. And, just this thing, you said this attorney gave you a list of terms and stuff that you need to know that they want you to know. Well, that's important, but that's building your practice no matter whether you're dealing with that attorney or anybody else. Now you got a talking point to the next conversation that you've got. You're always learning. That's what I like about, the way you approach this.
The more you learn, the more you earn.
Yep. Anybody got any other questions for Cam? Doug, I'm going to call on you if you've got a question. What is it there, bud? And then we'll get to California.
Okay, first I want to say, Cam, thank you so much for your contribution today. I learned so much because you spoke up.
Thank you,
Thank you so
buddy.
much. Remember just a few minutes ago, Bruce said some people would overthink things and just learn something more and learn something more and go on for 18 months before they take action. He's talking about me.
You specifically. No, just kidding.
Well, no, I've seen you do your thing. I know you're giving your all, Doug. Yeah, Douglas. You know, I definitely seen you out there, so don't feel discouraged, buddy. You know,
Oh,
listen.
no. I just wanted to say last week I took action and I just can't believe what was I resisting? This is so easy.
Hmm.
I'm certain of what I do. I know I've got a service to provide, and the attorney's offices were open to it.
Hmm.
And now I've just got everyone is open the door for a follow-up call or a follow-up face-to-face.
So one thing that helped me, and actually my stepmom again, she told me because I was super nervous about walking into attorneys, even PRs. So think about it like you're passing out gold, right? This gold you're passing is all the value you bring. Like you're here to serve. Like you're genuinely here to serve if you're in this probate space, especially if you're on this call, right? The whole point is to help these people get through the worst thing that can ever happen to someone, which is death, right? Same thing with attorneys. When you go to with that rhetoric of just like, bro, I'm just trying to help. Like, yeah, and I say this exactly verbatim. Yes, I'm a real estate investor, you know, but I started a concierge approach to personally help people. I know you guys are super busy. I know the personal representative is going through a lot. If I can be valuable and just solve that problem, I'm happy. You know, we'll all be happy. I said that today, this morning, and the guy gave me his card. Like, you know, he literally gave me his card this morning. You know, so it's this works.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Super duper. All right. Listen, Bill, I have somebody asked about the new California probate laws, and Jessica's asking, I'm not sure exactly what you meant, but you say about the new California probate law, what is your plan to source those leads? Jessica, could you be a little clearer? I'm going to ask you to unmute. Could you be, I'm not sure I understand your question. Go ahead.
So under the new probate law, like if the home is valued like 750K, they don't need to go to probate. And why there's a lot of homes in the Bay Area where I work and probably won't fit that description. I imagine across the state, there might be homes. Um, and I don't know how you guys will like identify those leads with this change that's going to take effect in the probate law.
So I took a different approach. I just added it to a letter that to them that says, "Did you know if your home is worth 750,000 or less, that you don't have to go to probate court?" And that's how I use it as a marketing. I haven't had any real responses on that because I'm similar to you. Most homes that I sell are $9 to $1 million.
Let me write that down right now, because one
Yeah.
thing I have been doing is looking at the obituaries here for San Francisco,
Mhm.
and then looking up their names, and then looking up if they own property when they died, and they have, and then sending them a letter. But none of them I ever have.
Well, I would focus on the condos in San Francisco because I think you and I both know that condos are in a free fall. So
Condos.
yeah,
Well, not a lot of people who's died, or at least probate filings I've read, and obituaries have died of condos. It's all single family houses or duplexes of all these people who are dying in the last 3 months in San Francisco. I'm like, wow, like no one owns a condo and dying except for this one guy who has like no family, and I've been sending letters to the condo, but like no one's replying.
So when I thought about it, I thought about how was I going to market it. But really what I've turned out to in my area is it's a conversation starter, right? It creates interest when I send a letter. I've gotten a couple of phone calls on it, but more about when I'm cold calling, it just seems to come up or I bring it up. It's kind of like Prop 19 in California, where if they pass away, they're going to change the taxes no matter what, unless a son or daughter owner occupies that residence, moves in and file as its primary residence. And if you know California, they're going to check. So it's just kind of a conversation starter. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you. You can set up a coaching call with me. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me write down your name because I know you're near me. You're like in Marine or something. You'll
Correct.
yes know for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, real estate's been hard. I actually got a day job. I'm at it right now.
Yeah, no, I completely
Making this call.
Yeah.
Jessica, the other thing, are you aware at all? Have you talked to anybody about our pre-probate product at all?
No. I know I missed a few sessions starting at this new job.
Well, here's the thing, you're making a point that you're looking up obituaries, you're then going to the property records trying to find if they own property. So to answer to your question about, how do we overcome kind of what's going on in California so you can find out what you need to deal with, you need to be working potentially with our pre-probate product, which will give you all of that. We start with notice of death, whether that's via the obituary, the funeral home, legacy, whatever. We typically get that. So literally, those are immediate leads. In other words, they happened as soon as the notice of death is filed anywhere, we start that. And we give you in that, we'll give you the last known address of the decedent. We give you their heirs, the relationship between them, phone numbers, email addresses, all of that. Plus, we also tell you if they own property. And when you have that information, so all the work that you're spending time doing is included in those leads. And that's the other side of it. We do both probate and pre-probate. And in your case, pre-probate probably be great, and it's going to become probably our lead product in a lot of areas of California where property values are a bit lower. It's the best way to get it because a lot of them aren't going to go to probate now. And so the pre-probate product works well. So talk to your account rep about pre-probate, and we'll have somebody reach out to you about that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll get you all squared away. All right. Good deal. That's great. And that's actually kind of the issue there. Obviously, you won't know unless you've done all the work that she's talking about doing. You won't know the answers to those questions. That's why we're doing it for you to try to make it available and all that. So,
and Bill, just to add something you said, Bill, obviously, whether it's worth less than 750 or more, it doesn't affect whether they want to sell the property or not. I mean, there in many cases, it doesn't matter. And the fact, even if you point out to somebody that it's worth 750 and it's worth 2 million, it's something you're doing that nobody else is doing. You're educating them, you're informing them, and you're telling them there might be an option. So it's an extra service you're providing. And if you do save somebody from having to file a probate, again, that doesn't mean they don't need to list or sell it. You can still provide the same, more value and the same services to them. So I think that's a great way that you're doing it. Well done.
The thing I just want to add to this is we're all talking, and what Bruce says and Tim and you is, all the services that ATL offers creates an opportunity to be of service to our community and help others, which, can really reinforce about how it comes up as not that I'm trying to make as much money as I can, but how can I be of help to you and benefit your life and assist you on your path. The thing that I've been really changing my marketing to is something about life-changing moments, right? Because it's hard to say probate all the time. It's hard to say divorce. So I just think, we're all on the right path, and it's amazing how this call has come together. But being of service is really what I'm all about, what this whole call is about. And then just one more thing, Cam. So in San Francisco and Santa Rosa, it's called the public administrator who handles the people that die intestate. So that should give you enough names there.
go ahead and
Come on
unmute
back,
yourself.
Tim.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Okay, so let me write. I just wanted to write that down. So, it's the name of the office around you is called the public administrator.
Correct. And I'm sure it's different in Pennsylvania as in North Carolina and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up the names and just put Massachusetts and it'll pop up, or just Chat GPT or DeepSeek it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just and I don't know if it's possible to ask a few more questions. What would be advantageous to? Okay, so we've had the conversation a few times of just like the type of people to prospect. So now the main person I want to prospect is obviously the attorneys, the PRs, um, attorneys and PRs for the most part. But what are some other relationships that you found beneficial? So my girl's at LPN and it's funny, she works at like a nursing home, not nursing home, it's like a
Assisted living.
yeah, assisted living. And I feel like sometimes even going after those is kind of pointless because have it on like my list and it'll say like, assisted living, but it's like, who am I calling there? And I
Well,
call them and it just
the thing that my experience with assisted living is that mostly the real estate is dealt with by the time they get there. The kids have either sold it or selling it to pay for the assisted living. My mom is in assisted living, and I thought I was going to get a boondoggle off her being there. I bought her Remax shirt, everything,
Mhm.
and not one lead. And what I found as they sell before they get to the home, and this is how they're normally paying for the home. Now
Mhm.
that's here. So what I've really found that has been assistance is in California, they have counselors that assist people in finding the right facility for them, or
Mhm.
I don't want to call it facility because it's not, but
But I didn't get what you're saying, like the right
yeah, the
home
right
for
place.
them.
Right. They have been great. So I have a couple of people I'm working with right now. I haven't had a deal work out, but they definitely call and feed me the leads.
Yeah, it's the point of them bringing it to you. So two things. What is that called? Damn, and I just had the second question. What is that called? And so boom. So I had a deal. Speaking of that, I had a deal where I was just, I'm not an agent, but I was using the MLS, and I came across, I'm looking up probates. I called the agent, and she was like, the guy needs to downsize. Like he just needs to find a house. He has some money, and the few places I did bring him to, they're like, he makes too much. But what would those people be called?
There's this senior specialist is what they mostly call themselves. I'm looking at right here. It says senior housing specialist.
Yeah,
So
couple years ago, we had that situation with our sister, and we found a company called Sunshine Senior Placement.
Yeah.
But senior placement facility might be a good thing to look for because it's not one facility. They're taking into account your wants and needs, and they usually have a multiple number of facilities that they can put them in.
okay.
So this is another idea that I've just thought of the last couple of weeks was so my wife's a nurse. So a lot of times seniors cannot go home because they need help. So they have these rehab facilities.
Mhm.
If you go to a state of California one, they probably don't own a home, but some
Mhm.
of them are very expensive and they have nice homes. And I was thinking, how do you get into those?
Mhm. Yeah, it's crazy because my girls like some of them pay 7 to 10 grand a month. I'm like, what? Like, okay, it's insane. But okay, so and I don't know if you guys know Melanie, the probate nurse. She gave me because she's a RN as well. She showed me this book, just and it's in every state. That it's like a book where they just go through any service that an older person, I should say, more experienced person needs, whether it's elder law, whether it's whatever. I'm gonna try and get into that book, but yeah, I was looking. I was looking at some, you know, trying to figure out how I can get him into a place, but it's his finances, so I don't know.
So the last thing I'll say is hospice, but I've never had any luck talking to a nurse that was really willing to tell you anything.
Okay.
Cam, you said you're in Andover.
No, well, yeah, yeah. It's like I'm in Andover this very second, but I live in Lowell.
So just for grins, I went in and just typed in senior services Andover, Mass as a search term in Google. You should do that. Do the same thing for Lowell. You'll see that there's a target-rich environment right there for you. There are a bunch of different service organizations and entities that provide senior citizen services in that marketplace. I'm sure you'll find same thing be the case for Lowell. And that's where you ought to begin, because that will help you identify where they're going, what agencies and groups work with them, and they're all worth, contacting and finding out what you might be able to do with those people.
Elder service. Okay. So it's
Hey,
funny.
Cam, I'm just going to say Google's old school. Why not ChatGPT?
Yeah.
tell them what you're trying to accomplish.
Speaking of
Or just call-
ChatGPT, there's a new one called DeepSeek, and it's I guess it's like the next best thing. But yeah, I've been using both of them. But
no one ever really talks about Reddit. Reddit's a great.
I see people use Reddit for just like, I just never thought about using it for what we do. Damn, that's actually a genius idea.
I mean, I do not know why. Is Reddit out of date? I mean,
no, it's people use Reddit for a lot, just a lot for everything.
It's
they don't
wildly
cover
relevant.
advertising. That's why you don't see it as much. Not pushing it as hard.
That's a good idea.
And by the way, if anyone wants to make $1 million, write a book on all these new kids' words. Like if you look really nice, you're eating. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you're eating out here.
Yeah, or you're Sigma. What's Sigma? You're cool. I'm like, okay.
Like, oh, my boy snapped. That means you're doing
snaps
well.
or sketch. What's sketch mean now? Anyway, never mind. I did this here.
But yeah, man, this has been fun. I really like this space. It's a little difficult to get it going, but once you get into the space and you're like, you're looking at it from a servant's perspective, it gets a lot better. You get discouraged and you're just like, oh, this is not working, but you can't quit. You cannot quit. You just have to keep going. But you have to keep prospecting. A lot of us fall by the wayside, just like, oh, someone's gonna call me and give me a deal. Like, nah, it doesn't work that way. So you just
Gotta be active. Got to be after it.
you have to be active. I actually read this book, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, and he talks about that. Like, you have to be a doer. You have to be a doer, and you have to be able to like learn. So yeah, oh man, I love this space, but I really do.
That's cool,
I'm happy I didn't give up, because now it's like.
Well, that's the thing. And I was going to point out, along the way, you reached what's called critical mass. Critical mass says that there's inertia in what you're doing that's already built in, so that when you get up the, first day of the next month, you've already got things that are going on. You do have funnels that are providing you business that are doing. You have actions that you need to go take. And the more you can provide yourself with a system that works for you, it doesn't really matter in some cases what the system is. You'll hone it over time. Don't take forever to figure it out. Get after it and go get started.
Absolutely.
And add to it as you go. Just like when we were talking about the leads in California, switch over for Jessica, switch over to pre-probate. If you're not finding them in probate, you're not finding them there, we've got something for you. And I'm going to encourage you along the way. We want to try to get you, maybe as you get better and better at what you're doing here, move over to divorce and start doing some divorce in your market. Great opportunity there as well. And it's the reason we like it so much is exactly what you said and Bill said. It's a place that you can provide service. People that are going through that transition, they're in trauma. Their life's upside down, and if you can be that voice of reason, you're going to find people that love you, want to help you because you're helping them. And then word of mouth, that's what really, really grows for you. So.
Absolutely. I mean, now it's like, just from having so much content on my Facebook, because I always try to keep it going. I'll friend request probate and estate planning attorneys. I've friend requested one, and I reached out to him and we spoke, and hopefully it works out. But you just got to keep going. Just got to keep trying.
Ask again, Cam, the name of Napoleon Hill's book, the second book that you talked about.
Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil, and obviously he's the
That's
author
good.
of Think and Grow Rich as well.
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich was good, but Outwitting the Devil is one of those ones where he's like, it just have you scratch your brain for, it's like, whoa. This book was written in 1930, and his wife didn't want him to release it, so they just released it in 2011. So you can imagine the wealth of knowledge that is
That's
in there.
great. I've never heard that, and I read Think and Go Rich years ago.
Yeah, he's that
So
guy.
that's cool. All right, guys, we're heading up to the top of the hour. We got a couple of minutes left. If anybody got one more question, be happy to answer it. Otherwise, Jimmy, I'm going to flip it back to you and let you say some wise words and send us to the barn.
Before we do that, I saw one question from Kathy wanting to know, what did the probate nurse recommend? Is that for Bill or is that for Cam? Not sure what you mean, Kathy. Are you there?
Kathy, just type it in the chat if you would, so we get it.
Oh, what did the probate nurse recommend? Damn, what she's done a lot for me, by the way. But
I guess, did she recommend, I would guess she might be asking, did she recommend another source or how to reach out to other nurses, or did she recognize?
Well, she's recommended a lot. That's why I'm just kind of, But this
Sure.
book, it's called the Blue Book. I don't know if it's on my. It's at home. It's on my computer, but it's just like a book for older people, and it has attorneys in there. It has real estate agents that deal with any type of senior, downsizing, whatever it is. They have healthcare services, anything that an old person would need to kind of thrive or transition or whatever it is. It's in that book, and I think it's updated every 3 months, but
It looks like David has a comment on that also, and then we'll
trying to
wrap it up.
Yeah, and Cam, you bring that next call. That'd be great.
What's up, brother?
The name of the book next call.
What do you mean? The name of
Blue Book, or whatever the book's called.
Outwitting the Devil. Oh, yeah. So next week I'll make sure I pull up. I'll have it. I'll bring the book. Bring the book. I'll drop the link. But yeah, it's a book, and every state has it. Like I said, it just helps older people. But my crazy behind, I see realtors in there. I see attorneys. You know what I did. So I'm reaching out to all of them.
David, you had your hand up, buddy, and we're asking you to unmute so you can ask your question there, friend. You got to unmute yourself. We can't unmute you. You have to do it.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt the conversation, just out of respect. I was listening, but I'm walking my dog, so it's hard to hear some of the convo with the cars driving by. I was hearing something about certain price points, about 750,000 or above, or what was that about? That they're not listed as probates any longer? I just wanted to get a clear understanding of that.
It's in California. Are you in California?
Oh, okay. It's only in California. No, I'm in New Jersey. Okay, I didn't hear that part, that it's only in California. Thank you.
You're good for now.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate the confirmation.
All right, guys, another great call. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Particularly thank Cam. You brought a really valuable, worthwhile, inspirational message to the call, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Also Douglas, of course, Bruce, Tim, Aline, and Bill, Jessica, and David. I thank all of you for your participation. And I want to challenge each of you. Take one idea that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share the results with the group. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you same time next week. Take care.